Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nurturing Duality. My name is Laura Coleman, and I full body channel Archangel Michael. Today's call was done on the 1111 portal, and the energies were quite rich due to that experience. I do think the message was very similar to last month's call. However, they gave more actionable steps and directions to align you with your soul's purpose. And that's exactly what they talked about, aligning with your soul's purpose and embracing self love to unlock inner truths that you're holding on to that need to be brought to the light. They also talked about manifesting abundance, and through that process of self love, deep self love, and unlocking your truths that you're holding on to, you can open up more abundance in your life. Archangel Michael and the other angelics also performed a healing that was completely unexpected, but the energy was quite palpable. And I do feel that with Mercury retrograde going on and just kind of the chaotic energies right now, that it was what everybody needed. The group portion of the call was kind of talking about listening to your intuition and following the signs from the universe. And are you blatantly blocking those nudges from the guides, from your angels, and how you can take actionable steps to start listening and being more in tune with these subtle energies and again aligning with your soul's purpose. I did channel this morning that I need to start putting more services on my website for mentorships and classes, and to really build more communal spaces like the one that we shared last night and the other calls that we have had, because there is a collective consciousness that is coming online, and it is important for us to band together and really build upon the energies that are coming through. And so be out on the lookout for that. It will happen within the next week. And also, I know I said this last month, and bear with me, I am human. I have my own restraints and what's the word I'm looking for? Resistance. I can't even think of the word because I'm so resistant. But creating content in general, they bring through a lot of information. I make a note in my phone, and then it just sits there and I don't do anything with it. And so there will be more content this month. That is something that I am personally doing because they called me out last night on the call, and they said that this message was as much for me as it was for everybody else, again, as always, because I am not by any means an exception of what comes through from the divine. So just be out on the lookout for that. And if you are interested in doing a one-on-one call or looking for future classes and mentorships, I will be putting my information in the description of this video. And as always, like and follow for more content through the divine and your guides.
So they're ready. So if you wanna go for it.
All right, everybody, welcome to the 1111 Archangel Michael call. I'm Stephen. I am an erotic body worker and spiritual energy healer based out of Denver, Colorado. I teach Reiki in group settings and in one-on-one settings. My website will be in the comments and in the description of this video, as will Laura's for private readings and the Facebook group as well.
Hi, Archangel Michael, I'm here. And today we present a message of love and truth. And the message that we are bringing forward today is more specifically about the love that you have for yourself.
When were you going to tell me you go and you?
And the truth that you are ignoring deep within your soul. These messages, as Laura said, are encoded with a vibrational frequency that is going to help unlock deep inner truths within that need to come to the surface, that need to be brought to the light. Because those truths are anchoring you in the past, and the past does not serve you. The past only hinders you getting closer to your soul's purpose. And the further you are away from your soul's purpose, the less joy and happiness you have in your life. You feel a deep longing that you are missing out on something. And the truth is, you are missing out on something You are missing out on the abundance that the universe has to offer for you through the gifts and abilities that you can share with the world, that the world needs in this time. There is so much conscious collective right now that is happening, that is shifting, and you are an integrative part of that shift. But when you play small and you do not allow others to see your gifts, to share those gifts, to help others along the same path that you have walked, you are only prolonging helping humanity get to a higher state of consciousness. And that doesn't benefit anybody. Because as you know, the feelings that you have only ripple out into the consciousness of the collective. And if you are vibrating from the highest state, you will be vibrating love and joy. But if you are not in a state of love and joy and gratitude, then that is not the transmissions you are sending out. A lot of these deep truths are buried in your subconscious. A lot of these buried episodes or thoughts or unconscious behaviors are affecting your day-to-day lives. And it can play out in a multitude of different ways. It may be that you are trying to get a promotion at your job, and it just doesn't seem like you are being seen or validated for the work that you are doing. But what are you admitting? What resonance are you sending to those around you if you are not in alignment with your soul's purpose? Maybe you are in search of a love for a soulmate. But again, you are not in alignment with your soul's purpose. So the transmission you are sending to all the other souls out there does not align with the energy and the frequency and the vibration of love. And a lot of you are wondering, well, I am a happy person. I am a joyful person. Well, that is a mask that you might be wearing, that you perceive you are happy, that you perceive that you are a joyful person. But what are the thoughts that are running on repeat in your mind? Subconsciously, every single day. Are you speaking to yourself with love? Are you speaking to your body, your vessel, with love? Or are you complaining about the cellulite you have on your legs or the excess weight you have in your midsection? Are you constantly sending hate signals to your own body, where those hate signals then reverberate to the conscious collective? This may seem like such a simple message, but the message comes through with so much truth, because if everyone is around hating one another, then that is the vibrational frequency of humanity. But when we love ourselves, when we are able to fully love every aspect of us, whether it is your hair that is turning gray or the lack of hair that you have, when you love yourself, you are in alignment with the energy and the frequency of love. And when you are in the energy and the frequency of love, that is a transmission that you send to all around you. And when you send love to all around you, the universe then in turn tenfold brings love into your life. And that love shows up in many different ways and forms of abundance. And that abundance is needed to be had for the light workers who are supposed to raise the consciousness, who are supposed to help others who otherwise would not be able to raise their consciousness on their own. And this goes back to the deep-seated truths that you all are holding on to. And I say you all because it is not just those of you on this call, it is the collective. It is a generational pattern to not speak about your feelings, to not speak about the traumas, if you will. But if you do not speak of them and release them, they are just going to bottle up. And a fruit rots. And more times than not, it rots and it rots the rest around it. And that is really the visual that we want you to see, is that you are that vessel, you are that fruit. And when you are not admitting the frequency of love from the highest state of truth, because each and every one of you is worthy of love. Each and every one of you deserves the love that the universe has for you, that wants to provide you. But if you do not see it yourself, if you do not feel it, if you do not resonate with it, then you absolutely will feel like something is missing in your life. Because that love, again, is going to show up in so many different ways. But the lack of love is only going to repeat generational cycles and karmic contracts and soul contracts that do not align with your highest self. The other message that we would like to share is that many of you have gifts and abilities and you are not using them. We send you messages and you are blatantly ignoring the messages we are sending you. And then you ask why your gifts and abilities are not coming online, why you are not able to do your soul's work that you know you wish to do, whether it is to be a channel and a medium, whether it is to do breath work, whether it is to do some type of energetic work that your soul is longing to do. But when the universe provides you with situations, those old programmings and the subconscious patternings then stifle that message because you don't feel like you're good enough. You don't feel like you are worthy enough to do this work to help humanity in a different way. And we are here to tell you that each one of you is worthy. Every single one of you have gifts and abilities. And you may be thinking, well, there are how many different channels and mediums out there? But please note that not every single channel and medium has your vibrational frequency. They do not have your energy infused in the message that needs to come out. And not everybody uses the same wording, and not everybody has the same, we'll say, seasonings that they add to their soup. You all could make chicken noodle soup, but each one could taste different based on the love and the energy and the vibrational frequency that you add into the soup. And that is what we're trying to show here, is there are billions of people waiting for someone like you to step up, to step into your divinity and be in alignment with who you are meant to be. It doesn't matter about sex or gender. It doesn't matter about the color of your skin, your race. It does not matter of your age, young or old. If you feel a calling, know that that is your soul. That is us pushing you to your soul's purpose. And once you are in alignment with the energy and the frequency of love, once you get through the subconscious patternings and the limiting beliefs that you are holding on to, and once you start to see the messages of the universe that we are providing you, you will be so much more fulfilled in your life. You will see that you are able to manifest the life that you always want, the life that you dream of, because all of life is about creation. And what are you creating right now? Are you creating a life that at the end of this incarnation, you would be happy with. We don't want you to feel that this message is harsh. It comes with an immense amount of love, and there is love for each and every one of you. And please know that if you do nothing with this message, if you choose to continue living unconsciously, we still love you. We will still send you blessings. We will still send you signs from the universe. But they may not be received in the way that you should hope, that you are trying to manifest, that you are trying to create, because you are not in alignment, again, with the energy and frequency of love. We are going to bring through some healing, and then, Stephen, we are going to pass it to you. If you are open to receiving this healing, please close your eyes. Feel into the energy. Allow it to wash over you and help cleanse your auric field. Be in alignment with this opening your eyes to the unconscious behaviors that you are holding on to. Be open to see these patternings and meet it with love and curiosity. And know that if it is not meant, if it is not met with love and curiosity, that the consciousness of that will come through just by acknowledging these unconscious behaviors that are holding you back. We are going to give a mantra, and you do not need to worry about the mantra. It will be recorded. We want you to still sit in this energy while it washes over you and ingrains into your auric field. The mantra is, I stand in my divinity. I now open my eyes and see all that no longer serves me. I meet life with gratitude and love. I love myself and those around me. I stand in the light and I work through the light. And so it is. This energy will continue to work through you through the duration of this call. And please note that if you feel called to align with this energy again, you can watch the replay and know that the energies and frequencies will work with you and through you every time you hear this message. That is all we have. Stephen, we are ready for questions.
Good evening. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you for having us, as always.
So, to piggyback on some of what you were saying, the one thing that jumped out, the message of so the angels are sending lots of signs and signals that are being blatantly ignored by some people. Can you share what are some of the most common examples of those signals that we could all be paying more attention to?
Yes, that is a great question. It really is more specific to the individual and their path and what they are going through. But know that when you have a deep intuitive knowing to do something in your life, to present in a certain way, to reach out to somebody, and you do not, those are some of the most common signs that we send. That is from your highest self. That is your highest self working with the angels, with the divine, with other entities, energies, and frequencies that you align with your soul correction, with your star seed. And it is the blatantly ignoring your intuition that is probably the first and foremost message that most of you are engaging in.
And I could almost see that as being like the opposite of building a trust muscle, where every time there is an intuition that we have, and we're like, oh, we should act on that, but we skip it for whatever reason. Would you say that kind of deteriorates trust or these connection points to the intuition and to the signs coming from higher realms?
Absolutely. It's if you think about a traffic jam, one car comes through and that is an intuitive nudge and you don't act on it, you don't listen to it, so it slams on the brakes. Another one comes and it slams on the brakes, and pretty soon you have a 52 car pile up and we can no longer get the messages through. And that is why you are questioning. Most of you are not in tune with your body, and by default, it is because of society, generational patterns, traumas that happened in your childhood, where the feelings and the transmissions that you were supposed to be listening to were diminished, or Laura's struggling with the word, and it really is irrelevant, but you were not given the chance to foster the identity of how these messages come through to you. And not everybody receives messages in the same way. Laura does not receive messages the same way you receive messages, Stephen. It is all subjective to the individual. But if you sit and listen to your body, if you sit in silence, in solitude, and make that a daily practice and ask your angels, ask your guides to send you signs. They have to send you signs. That is their job. They want to send you signs. They want to guide you. But if you do not trust in your body, if you do not love your body enough to listen to the messages that are being brought through, then we cannot bring through messages in a clear, concise manner.
So the action step here would be to start following the intuitive nudges and taking action on them despite the potential like randomness or absurdity of it.
Absolutely. It is a two-part process. One, we really want you to, again, sit in solitude. Listen to your body, meditate, be one with yourself and your higher self. And then the second part of that is exactly what you said, to trust in the messages, even if they do seem random. And an example is if you go to the store and you feel like you need to get eggs as you're walking past that freezer section, that cooler section, but you don't get the eggs because you think that you have eggs at home. And you may have eggs at home, but what's the harm in having extra eggs? Well, then all of a sudden you find out that your kid needs something for a bake sale tomorrow, and you should have got the eggs because now you don't have enough eggs to make said bakery. And it's really small things like that that build trust, that formulate that muscle. You can't go to the gym once expecting to have ripped arms. You can't listen to your intuition one time and ignore it 37 other times and wonder why you're not getting the messages and the signs from the universe.
Awesome. Thank you so much. In your message, you were also speaking about those of us who have spiritual gifts that are ready to serve the collective, and that a lot of them are waiting to come online or not coming online as fast as they could be. What are steps towards bringing, especially for those of us who are out here like, okay, this is actually my first time on a call like this, or this is my first time really like watching a YouTube video like this, and never really considered myself as somebody who has spiritual gifts. If it's brand new to somebody, where do we even get started?
That is a great question, and we appreciate the thoughtfulness of that. And we are going to go back to the previous question. It starts with you. It starts with the belief, the love that you have for yourself, the removal of old programming, subconscious programming that is there. And again, please know that if you are ready to take the next step, if you are ready and you feel that you have gifts, but you are new to this quote unquote world, new to the metaphysical, know that you should go back and re-listen to the affirmation, the energy work of it, because that will help unlock. And the more that you listen to it, the more the energy and the frequency can be encoded with inside of you to help then remove and bring to the light the subconscious patterning that is playing on repeat. Because more times than not, the ones who know that they have gifts and abilities are afraid of them because events that have happened in their lifetime where they had to shut them down or their gifts were shut down. And so to circle back around to your question, it does start with the love that you have for yourself, the process of sitting with oneself, listening to the body, and really aligning with your higher self. What does that mean? How can you do that? You sit and you meditate and you wait for things to come through. And it may not happen. It is a daily practice. Again, you can't go to the gym once and expect results. You can't meditate one time and expect results. And so it all piggybacks onto each other to really help bring forward those gifts and abilities.
Wonderful, thank you. So it sounds like there's this daily practice required, and there's a certain level of space that is required in order to bring through these new versions of ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. And here's the thing. The love that you have for yourself will in turn help you become more aligned with your soul's path. And many of you are still living in fear where you find excuses not to sit with yourself. I don't have the time. I'm too busy with work. My kids don't go to bed till late. Whatever the excuse may be, you can find time for yourself, but you are choosing not to out of fear. You are choosing not to out of unconscious behaviors or patternings or generational cycles. But you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be interested in this message if your soul did not call you to hear the truth of this message. Because every single one of you has gifts and abilities that are not fully tapped into. And even if you are tapped into your gifts, there is more than what you are presenting. Most of you are not, Laura included, bringing forth all of your gifts and abilities. And please know these messages do not disclude her in any way, shape, or form. Because every single one of you can learn and grow and will always be growing if you are more aligned on your soul's path. Because that is the path of enlightenment. That is the path that all souls do. Every time you reincarnate, you come back here to learn, to grow, and to evolve. And the majority of the souls who are coming online now, shall we say, their souls are tired of reincarnating and not bringing through the teachings and the lessons from the previous lifetime because they haven't learned fully through them. And so the light workers like us need to step up to help the other souls because the chaos around us, around the world, is just an effect. It is an aftermath of the consciousness not evolving at the rate that it needs to be evolving at. It is not growing, and there has been stagnant energies. We've talked about it in previous calls. These scales have been tipped in one direction, and now they need to start tipping in the other direction. And that will happen as the more of you love yourself, get in alignment with that energy, and bring forward the gifts and abilities you have and have a more fulfilled life. And when you are more fulfilled and in the energy of love, it is going to then spread through the other connections and the people that you know, and you will see the change that you wish to have seen through Earth, through humanity, through the consciousness.
Thank you. To get more granular here around being in the energy of love, can you shed light on, we're having a human experience. We're having things happen to us. We're in situations with people and places and things that aren't always desired, and we're doing what we can to move away from them. Can you shed light on like the frequency of love, right? Being in that deep gratitude. But is that always the case, or is it also like what I guess I'm getting at is the frequency of love versus acts of love?
That is a great question. And yes, the human experience is so multifaceted. It is one of the reasons why many energies, many souls come to Earth because you can have the experience with all of the feelings, with all of the emotions, where if you reincarnate somewhere else, you don't get the same experience. That is the beauty of life here on Earth in this reality. And with the human experience comes doubt, self-worth, and all the other lower vibrational frequencies. And what we want to express through this question is that those energies, those frequencies of doubt and self-worth and guilt and shame will come up because that is the human experience. But are you replaying those? Are you allowing the subconscious thoughts to keep playing out, or are you making the correction in your mind when they come up? Are you allowing yourself to feel the shame, to feel the guilt, to feel the self-worth? Get curious about why you are having these feelings, and then allowing yourself to release them so that you can then become, again, in alignment with the energy of love. Now, to answer the second question that you have about acts of love, any act of love that comes from a genuine place is in alignment with the energy and the frequency of love and the energy and the frequency of gratitude. And when you do anything out of love, yes, you are in the energy and alignment of those frequencies because you are acting from an honest place. You are doing a service to somebody else out of love. Does that answer your question?
It does. And I think I want to get just a little bit more specific. When I was talking about acts of love, I was almost more referring to acts of love for ourselves, like radical acts to take care of ourselves, to move us towards what we require to be able to honor our gifts more. And I guess you touched on this with, feeling the shame and the guilt and the grief. And I am, yeah, just kind of circling it all together where getting confirmation that acting in love for ourselves or doing things towards love for ourselves might not always feel like a warm, beautiful, like hug.
Exactly. Exactly. We could not have said it more beautifully. Not every single thing you do for yourself, the way that you guys think self-care is going to feel good, is going to feel like you are in alignment with love. But know that when you are digging up these subconscious patternings, when you are digging up the traumatic events that you no longer want to clench onto and run your life through these subconscious patternings, that is an act of love for the self that is pushing you closer to loving yourself, that is pushing you closer to being in alignment with the energy of love. And so, yes, there are a multitude of different ways that you can exhibit love for yourself and self-care. And yes, those things are all great. Get a massage, take a bubble bath, go for a walk, read a book, cuddle your dog or your cat. All of those are forms of love. But the other half of the coin, or the other side of the coin, excuse us, is that acts of love for the self is really everything that we have explained in the message prior. It is getting through what no longer serves you, just like messages we have said in the past, to then align with your soul's purpose. That is the ultimate act of love that you can gift yourself, is being in alignment with your soul's purpose, because your soul has signed up for a very specific teaching and learning in this reincarnation. And you will feel unfulfilled if you are not filling out that contract, if you are not in alignment with what your soul wanted to learn before it came into this lifetime. And so anything that you can do to release, to get on that path, is the ultimate act of love for yourself. And again, when you are taking these acts of love and being in more alignment with the energy and frequency of love, that is what you are radiating out to the other souls that are in your existence and around you. And when you are reverberating this energy outwards, it is only going to ripple with every single person, and that's going to ripple, and that's going to ripple, and it is going to be the change again that everybody wants to see. But you have to put in the work to get to that point.
Gorgeous. Thank you. So now sourcing from the group here, let's see. I'll just read it. So it feels like people as a collective are experimenting more with personal connection to the spiritual plane. Why is this happening now? Is this a novel time or a return of a cyclical movement? Either way, what does this mean for the immediate future?
That is a great question. And it seems that way, that it is a new aged spiritual era. But it only seems that way because we are the most connected that we have ever been with one another. You have so many different social media platforms and so many different ways to connect that generations before you did not have. And while, yes, there were a lot of people who did not believe, and it does seem to be more mainstream now, it only seems to be more mainstream now because the need is that much greater, because the scales are tipped so far in the other direction that it needs to start turning the other way. So these souls who need to help push that energy are waking up a lot quicker. And these souls who are reincarnating are coming in with the understanding that they will not suppress their gifts, that they will not allow society to silence their gifts, that they are fully stepping in. And so the children that have been coming in for the last 10 to 15 years are the ones who are truly awakening the rest of the souls around. Again, it's the energy and frequency of love that they are reverberating without correction throughout, that are wakening up the other souls, the adults who need to be awakened. So it may seem to those of you that it's something that is just now occurring. But to say it's cyclical, it's something that has always been happening. It's something that has always been pushing that way. I mean, if you look throughout history, the Egyptians were doing things that would be considered new age for their time, but we look at them and now it seems archaic. And there are a lot of other religions and spiritual teachers and leaders who were doing things in their time. Think of Jesus, for example. He was bringing people back from the dead. He was turning water into wine. All of this seemed new age, but it wasn't. They just happened to have records of it.
So, is there a bigger wave of spiritual people coming online right now for this big shift, or is it just more well known?
Yes and no. Again, throughout history, the scales tip back and forth. Mother Nature is always looking to find balance, but it has been so far out of the divine feminine and into the masculine that it needs to go into the divine feminine to awaken the divine masculine. And we know this seems like kind of out of left field, and we promise we will bring it back to the question, but it does seem in this time that there is more awakening, but because the balance is not in balance, it is not in a state of homeostasis throughout the energies and the frequencies of your your planet, of planet Earth. And so it's hard to say because it's not cyclical. It's not something that plays on repeat, although we did just say the scales tip, but every time the scales tip, we learn something. You bring through other teachings through reincarnations. And so it's more of a stepping stone, if that visual makes more sense, where when the scales tip one way, the collective learns something and they build on that. But it builds and then it tips the other way. And then you learn something and it builds and it builds and then it tips. And it's not really a cycle like this. Does that visual make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense because it sounds like what you're saying is the consciousness is always learning and always growing from itself, but within that, there's cycles, but not like a full like restart kind of cycle.
Correct. Yes.
Wonderful. Well, thank you.
You are very welcome.
So, shifting gears a little bit into the concept of karma. What can you share? I'm curious about like collective karma and like personal karma. Is there such thing as karmic debt? Do we bring debts from past lives that we have to work out in this life, or what's the deal with karma?
Great question. Yes, karma is something that every soul has. And you can think about it like a bank. You do a good act, a good deed, and you have a good karma. You raise that vibrational frequency, if you will, of karma. If you do something that affects another soul, another individual in a negative way, you then have a negative karmic balance. You have that energy of karma. And it does need to balance out by the end of your reincarnation of that particular lifetime. And if it does not balance, you will bring forward the karmic debt to the next reincarnation. And every single time you reincarnate, you are balancing out the scales. You are learning lessons. This is not a negative thing. Please don't look at it as something that is taboo or it just is the facts of reality. It is just like the sun rises and sets, karmic scales tip and they go back and forth because you have free will, and that is the beauty of the experience. But there is also, to your point, a collective karma, and that gets a little bit shall we say, it has more of a gray area, because who really plays out this karmic debt? Who really is in control and has to bring forward that energy? And it's a little bit more complicated than the karmic debt of the individual, but when a collective, a group of individuals come together and they formulate an act, a heinous act against other souls, the karmic debt on the, shall we say, negative energy and frequencies of karma actually is more dense. The debt becomes greater because it is not you acting on your own in an unconscious patterning. It is you coming together as a collective to plan, to think, to really formulate a way to hurt other souls. And so it's not to say that there isn't karmic debt on a collective level, but when the collective comes together, the energy of the karma is more dense and it does weigh differently. And there are a lot of souls who are playing out their karmic debt through multiple reincarnations because of the lessons that they chose to learn in those lifetimes. Those people, those souls, they are not evil at their core. But when you come to Earth and you have free will, some souls get so far away from their soul's mission, they get so disassociated with themselves where they do not listen to the messages that come through, that they then perform acts, again, that are unspeakable. But please note, we love those souls. And this is hard for some of you to hear. We love those souls equally as much as we love the souls who are Mother Teresa. And that is the reality of the situation, because each and every one of you is a divine creature of God, of the universe. And through any act that you portray in your life, any event that plays out, we love you. And I think that is very important for some of you to hear, because a lot of you have shame and guilt around certain circumstances and events in your life. And those events and circumstances were done more than likely from a state of unconsciousness. But if you are outside of those, shall we say, traumatic events in your life, and you are working towards becoming more conscious, working towards the energy and frequency of love, then you are balancing, again, the scales. We talk about scales a lot here, but you are balancing the scales to bring more of the higher vibrational frequencies of karma into your life. You are repaying some of the karmic debt in your life, in your reincarnations, to balance and make sure that you are at a state of homeostasis. That was a tangent. Did we answer your question?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So another great question from the group here. This is from a computer science background. Reincarnation slash karmic debt feels like data collection. If this is an accurate view, what are we trying to solve for?
That is a great question. And yes, that is exactly what it is. If you think about your soul, every single one of you has an Akashic record. Every single one of you has lessons and things that you are trying to learn. And each one of you comes from a different place in the cosmos. And so the lessons that you are trying to learn are not the same as your neighbors, and they're not the same as your husbands, and they're not the same as your mothers. And when you speak of karmic debt and I apologize. You said karmic debt and what?
Uh, Reincarnation.
Reincarnation. Thank you. When you speak of karmic debt and reincarnation, or just karma in general, those are things that are logged into every single soul's Akashic records. And that is a record of every single event that you have lived through in every single reincarnation to help evolve your soul. Because at some point, you will no longer reincarnate on Earth. That is just the evolution of the soul and the expansion of the energy of what your soul is. And then you will go to other places in the galaxy to learn. And it's really about the expansion of energy. Everything is expansion. Correction, everything is expanding, but at what rate is it expanding? And where are you within the cosmos of the expansion? And so yes, to label it as records is absolutely correct.
To deepen into the question a little bit further, so the purpose is expansion. In the question, it was kind of like data collection. What are we solving for? What's the goal?
Well, again, it's based on the individual and where your soul started from. So, for example, Laura's soul started from the angelic realm. That is why she is so easily able to tap into the energetic frequencies of the angelics. And throughout the angelic realm, there are certain things, certain laws that we have to abide by. But when you reincarnate into Earth, you have to abide by those laws to an extent because gravity is a law that is bound by Earth. Time is a construct, but it is now a law that you have all been conditioned to live by that is bound by Earth. But because Laura is able to so easily connect with the angelic frequency, she can bring through those teachings and those lessons. And so there really is not an end goal. Energy is energy. And if you die, that energy is going to be dispersed in somewhere else. It's quantum physics. There is no end to the energy. It is always expanding. It is always moving. It is always formulating. And that is the easiest way that we can explain that to you without it becoming jargon.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hmm. What about the energy of play and fun? I hear a lot from other, people who channel and higher levels of consciousness that talk a lot about, up there, it's pretty fun and playful. And we have this thing about being humans where we take it so seriously and make it so hard. What can you say about that?
That's exactly it. There's nothing to say about it. If you look at a child, they are more times than not always in a state of joy, always in a state of curiosity. And it's when the adults come into the picture that they diminish that joy, they diminish that curiosity based on the traumas and the generational patterns that they were experiencing. But if we can become more childlike, if you can align with the energy of curiosity, you will not take life as seriously as you do, and you will again allow the abundance of the universe to come to you at such a quicker manner. But you also have to realize again that you are confined to the laws and the constructs of Earth. And so you can't always be in a state of a child. That's just not realistic. But how can you make acts that you do that are boring or dense more childlike? How can you add joy into your life with tasks and things that you have to do as an adult that you just can't get out of? Some people go to a job every single day that is unfulfilling. But how can you bring joy into your work? How can you be into alignment with love for the work that you do to then bring joy to others. Again, life is about being in alignment with your soul's purpose. And some of you are not doing that through the work that you do, but we understand you need to make money to survive. But we assure you, if you can be in alignment, be more childlike, have joy in the mundane tasks that you do, you will find that you have a richness for life, a love for life, and the abundance will flow through so much quicker, exponentially quicker.
And you've talked a lot about curiosity today. Can you speak more to just the energy of curiosity? When I feel into it, it seems more like an energy that allows for potential.
Absolutely. If you are curious about anything, it brings awareness, it brings new perspective, it allows growth, it allows you to lean into the lessons that the universe is providing you with. More times than not, humans often wonder, why does this keep happening to me? But they don't lean into your point to the energy of curiosity and really dig deeper into the why. They don't ask themselves, what am I doing to bring this situation into my life? And if they're not curious about it, if they're just asking why, well, the universe is going to keep providing them situations because they are asking why this is coming through. They are bringing that energy into them. And if you are curious, if you get into alignment with how you can change your subconscious patternings, how you can become enlightened, more awakened to the situation, then you will no longer be in these cyclical cycles. And the energy of curiosity is in alignment with joy and love. There is a excitement about that energy. But a lot of the times when these situations are dense or they are traumatic, and it really is hard to bring that energy in to get curious. But that is where the going way back into the conversation, getting in touch with yourself and really feeling into the messages that we are sending to you, it'll be that much easier to get into alignment with curiosity, because when you are in alignment with curiosity, you will see things from a different lens. There will be problems in your life, and we say problems from a human perspective. Nothing is a problem. Everything is a lesson. Please know that. But there will be problems in your life that keep occurring, keep happening. But when you are curious about them, you will find a solution. And it is more times better off than you could have even imagined. But that is because you are in alignment with solving the problem, with allowing the answer to come through you from curiosity. And that's really what it is the alignment with the energy and allowing it to flow through you, just like any other energy that we've spoke of this evening.
So it allows for something new versus being in like a decided kind of head in the sand mode.
Correct. Yes.
Wonderful. Oh, well, it looks like the chat is wrapping up here with questions. I'm feeling complete on my end. Archangel Michael, is there more for us here?
We feel we have given a lot this evening to ponder on, to dig deeper. And the only thing that we really want to leave you with is that no matter what you choose, no matter which avenue, whether you decide to dig deep or you decide to continue your life the way it is, you are divinely loved, and we will continue to send guidance until you are ready to awaken to your soul's purpose. That is all we have for you. As always, we leave you with light and love.